I've been in the real estate business, it's hard to believe, 42 years. Started selling real estate in San Jose in 1979. We started a company called Contemporary Realty in the Almaden Valley area of San Jose. And when we came in, we had a couple offices. And 10 years later, along with a couple other partners, Greg Macris and Gino Bafara, we built up a pretty good company. We had 18 offices, about 900 agents, and a mortgage company called Princeton Capital. So when it comes to recruiting and looking for talent, that type of thing, there's not much that I haven't been involved in. But since that, a lot of things have happened. I've been involved in recruiting and managing and leadership roles in real estate since 1987. And when I took over operations for Coldwell Banker in Southern California, we had some challenges down there in terms of recruiting. And probably one of my first calls was to advance marketing, talked to Steve and brought him in to help with the recruiting. You know, it's fair to say in these last 25 or 30 years, Steve has perfected the art of being able to make a contact with a person that he's never met before, he and his staff, and somehow bring about a level of confidence that they share things with him. I had no idea at that point. He had mostly been with on the sales side, looking for helping sales agents that I've known literally across the country bring in listing opportunities, that type of thing. So once he started doing the recruiting calling, I noticed immediately that some of our agents, our managers who had struggled picking up the phone and making that initial call, started all of a sudden bringing in more agents. It's very rare when you're prospecting where someone says, "We've been waiting for one of you to come by." Right? Can you come in and do you have your paperwork with you? It's usually it begins with some type of a communication, and then it advances to a place where hopefully you get to do business with them as a salesperson. Recruiting is no different. I think it's the team leaders out there, the managers and the brokers, who understand that this is a communication business. And if somebody brings you someone who says, "I'm interested in talking to you about what it is that you do differently maybe at your office," you have to have the courage to pick up the phone and follow up on those leads. Never would have happened if Steve hadn't made that introduction. That's really what he does. He makes introductions. And so it's you get it in the morning and it comes in the form of an email. You can print it out. You can bring it into your CRM. There's a lot of ways you can organize it. But again, it's not only do you get the name and basically a paragraph or two of what went on in the conversation. You get their phone number, which is a cell number. You also get their email address, and usually you get their address, so you can send them a little nice thank you after you speak with them about the possibility of becoming a part of our team. When he's done, you're going to have a large list of these people that have at least shown some interest in what it is that you do or your team. And those are great people for you to follow up, because the one thing I know about recruiting, and I can tell you this going way back, when I first opened my first office way back in '87, there was an agent I wanted down the street, and it took me 4 years to get him. But I followed up, and when he finally joined, he said, "I think you just wore me down." And so it's kind of comical, but it does give you a list to call, because in today's world, it's not like the real estate business used to be, where we'd all be in these big board of realtors meetings or different geographical meetings. Most of the newer generation doesn't attend those meetings like when I was a new agent. And so trying to reach out, trying to find out who to reach out to can be difficult. But again, Steve takes care of that. And I tell them all the same thing. For the price, because Steve's prices have pretty much stayed the same. And I'll give you an example of the market we're here in Roseville. Steve's price for what he does was the same thing when the average sales price in my area was $200,000. Our average sales price is now $550,000. So it's just simple math, right? So if the way I look at it for what we pay Steve, if I just get 2 leads a year that turn into productive salespeople, I think I've paid for it for the next 5 years. So it's almost a no-brainer. But again, it only works if you work it, and that's really what Steve does. He takes that call reluctance away. It's because when you call him after he's already, or one of his staff has already called him, It's not a cold call. It's just a follow up. And every one of my conversations starts the same way. You know, hey, I want to thank you for being so cordial to my business partner last night, Sally or Sue or one of the people to make the calls, because I look at them like that as a business partner.